Welcome to the Roman Arena Podcast, created by the students of Roman Catholic High School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here, we discuss various issues and events, plus interview those of influence. It's all from the perspective of the Roman students. Now, sit back and enjoy the Roman Arena Podcast.
Back in the Super Bowl, baby, and we're back with another episode of the Roman Arena Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Sonlin, and today, unfortunately, my co-host, Nick McGatz, will not be joining us today because he's at baseball practice, but today we're joined by two very special guests.
Shaun McCormac.
Dominic LoBiondo.
Guys, today is a celebratory day. This is the NFC Championship Podcast episode. The Philadelphia Eagles, after 5 years of nothing but doubt and suffering, are back in the big game.
Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, baby, and we'll be playing the Kansas City Chiefs for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Just this past weekend, I was given the fortunate ability to go to the game with my dad, and I had nervousness going up to the game. Any of you?
Watching it, right out the gun, I knew we had it.
You knew we had it? Yeah. Don, what about you?
I was a little scared going into it because, the 49ers were – they were on like a 13-game win streak or something like that.
Yeah, around there.
So I thought they'd come in this game like really hot, but once Purdy got injured, I feel like everything went downhill, and then we just killed them.
Yeah, for sure. At the beginning of the game, both teams started out a little shaky, and then Jalen Hurts on 4th and 3 threw a 29-yard, one of the greatest 29-yard passes to a wide receiver I've ever seen. Devontae Smith went up and grabbed a one-hand catch that.
Very controversial.
It was a very controversial call because they called it a complete pass, but. Which would end up leading to a Miles Sanders touchdown. But the reason Kyle Shanahan kind of played a little soft, he did not review that call, and if he would have reviewed the call, it would have been called incomplete.
It was very smart by the Eagles to snap the ball, right?
Yeah, when Devontae caught it, he smashed his fist together, which is the football sign for get up, snap the ball, or just run another play, call timeout. And then after that, the next drive or the drive after that, the next time the 49ers had the ball, Brock Purdy is between the 30 and the 50 around midfield, and he calls hike Hassan the GOAT, Hassan Reddick, Philly's own Hassan Reddick came off the edge, absolutely obliterated Brock Purdy, and ended up injuring his elbow, but on that play he caused a fumble.
Is that the play you got the strip sack?
Yeah, strip sack play. That Hassan Reddick, Philly's very own Hassan Reddick, went up against Warminster and Doylestown own right tackle for the 49ers, Mike McGlinchey. He's a Philadelphia native, and but they both have high respect for each other, and it was a good matchup. But Hassan, he won, and he made a couple of really good plays, a few sacks, a couple tackles, and that strip sack for the fumble. So the Eagles started out shaky. They'd end up really being good on defense, and then Jalen Hurts wasn't able to play to his best ability, because the 49ers pass defense is pretty good, so we ended up just beating them on the run, but their run defense is better. When we came into what did you think when we came into the game, Vito?
When we came into the game, I feel like it was like really hype because Lil Uzi came out with the team.
Oh yeah,
so I feel like we already had the momentum coming out of the game, and then I feel like the 49ers coach kind of screwed them at the beginning because that catch gave them momentum for the whole entire game because everyone was hype after that. And I feel like if it got overturned, they might have been a different when I scored on the first possession.
And another thing I'd like to mention was the fact that, as Dom said, when Uzi came out of the game with the Eagles, that was getting everyone hyped. And then that, and then another thing is a tradition that the people in Philadelphia have is that they don't like when people disrespect their statue again.
And the Rocky
this
statue
weekend
is disrespected again.
The Rocky statue was disrespected again with the
49ers jersey.
The 49ers jersey.
Yep.
And there was loads of fans taking pictures and videos with 49ers gear around the statue, and the Eagles took that personally. And
Gotta get back.
We got our get back and ended up winning 31-7. That continued for Patriots fans. Did it for the Super Bowl. They did it for the Giants, one of the last Giants games. They did it
The
for
Vikings too.
the Vikings when we beat them in the NFC Championship. And you can't disrespect the Rocky statue or your team's gonna get disrespected. This is the first Super Bowl in history that two brothers will end up going up against each other, in Jason and Travis Kelce, and both of them were pretty excited about it. But a funny thing I seen on Twitter the other day was Travis Kelce. They were doing one of their New Heights podcast episodes either yesterday or the day before, and Travis said none of you Chiefs fans put Chiefs attire on the Rocky statue, and especially not number 87. And I agree. What do you for the Super Bowl? The Pro Bowl is this weekend, but no one really watches the Pro Bowl. For the Super Bowl next weekend, what do you think? What do you think our chances are?
I think that we have a really good chance to win because the Chiefs the whole year have basically been getting carried by Patrick Mahomes. He's the front runner for MVP. He probably will win, even though I think that Jalen Hurts will win. But our Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham and all of them.
Our run defense.
Our run defense. I feel like because we had the most sacks this year, we had 4 people over 10 plus sacks. I feel like if we get to him more often, that we will win the game.
No, I do agree with that. That our run defense is pretty good, and I don't think our pass defense. I don't think the Chiefs will be able to get past our pass defense just because of the DBs we have. The DBs we have in Darius Slay, James Bradbury, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Marcus Epps, and Reed Blankenship off the bench. This past offseason, the Chiefs just lost their best receiver in Tyreek Hill, and their offense kind of got a little limited. But since then, they continue to go 14-3 and continue to win the playoffs, and now we are facing them in the Super Bowl. But if I had to give a realistic score prediction, I'd give the Eagles 36-28 over the Chiefs. What about you two?
Well, I would like to go back to the last question, and I would like to add that Patrick Mahomes coming in off he's a little dinged up right now.
Yeah, a sprained ankle sprain.
Yeah, and I think with all that pressure on him, it's not going to be a good look for him.
Yeah, I think if Hassan and Josh Sweat and the interior defensive linemen can continue to get to them, I don't think they'll be able to handle it. What about you? Score prediction?
Score prediction, I would go 28-21.
Okay,
Eagles.
You, Dom?
I feel like it's gonna be a defensive game. I feel like
maybe
21 to 16, 21 17.
It's pretty realistic. For both teams, they both have the ability to score over 30 points, but with their as good as both of their defenses are, I don't think it's realistic enough for them to both score over 30. But if they did, that would be a very good Super Bowl to watch, and hopefully our Birds come out on top. A couple of weeks ago, just going to a new topic. A couple of weeks ago, me and Nick, we did our mid-season NFL awards and finale of the season NFL award possibilities. And the NFL had just announced a week or two ago the finalists for the awards, and I would like to list them today. So for Offensive Rookie of the Year, your finalists are Brock Purdy, Kenneth Walker, and Garrett Wilson.
Alan Leiden.
Which out of the three do you guys think that will be able to win? Between Brock, Kenneth, and Garrett Wilson.
I think Garrett Wilson, because Brock Purdy literally just started playing he played maybe 5 regular season games. So I feel like he shouldn't even be a candidate for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year.
But
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I feel like Garrett Wilson really helped the Jets defense evolve the Jets offense evolve.
Yeah, that's who I have. And then for Defensive Rookie of the Year, you have Sauce Gardner, Aiden Hutchinson, and then Tariq Woolen. Who do you have, Sean?
I don't even think it should be close. I think it should be Sauce all the way.
That's what I think.
Sauce, he took the best wide receivers in the league and shut them down. And you don't see it a lot with rookies.
Yeah, you really don't. He one of the highest defense pass ratings this season just for being a rookie, and you can argue he's top 5 right now for corners in this year, maybe top 10. So for the NFL honors that they are shown on TV February 9th at around 8 p.m., which is the next upcoming week. And the NFL awards, they are AP awards. And to be an AP finalist is to be like, so the NFL is listed like award finalist, but if you're an AP finalist, you have a better chance of winning the award. And here for the 2022 Coach of the Year, the finalists are Nick Sirianni, Kyle Shanahan, Brian Dable, Sean McDermott, and Doug Peterson. And be announced to Philly fans, Nick Sirianni is not an AP finalist, so he does not have a chance to win Coach of the Year. What do you think about that?
I think he should at least be a top 3 finalist, but in my opinion, I think Doug Peterson should win because 2 years ago, the Jaguars were the worst team in the NFL with like a 2-14 record, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And over the past 2 years, he got them to the playoffs in the AFC South, and then they beat the Chargers in the first round, coming back from 27-0. And I feel like that they had so many opportunities to beat the Chiefs, but they just messed up on so many. So that's why I think that Doug Peterson should win.
I think, that's what I think. I think either Doug Peterson should win. I don't like the Giants or any other team on this list besides the Jaguars, but Brian Dable did a great job this year bringing the Giants back to the playoffs for the first time in around since Odell was like 6 or 7 years since the Giants made the playoffs, and he brought them back. But if I had to give a top 3, I'd say Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni, and Brian Dable. But unfortunately, Nick Sirianni is not an AP finalist, so I think he was robbed. For the next award, it is the NFL Honors Offensive Player of the Year. It's listed Tyreek Hill, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Jefferson. I would love on everything for it to be Jalen Hurts, as he had an MVP caliber season, and basically the Offensive Player of the Year is just the second place or runner-up for MVP. But I wanted to be Jalen Hurts, and I think it should be, but honestly, the NFL's kind of biased, so they're going to give it Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should be either between Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. I don't think it should be a QB because I feel like the MVP race is between Mahomes and Hurts.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that Justin Jefferson should win because he carried the Vikings offense basically.
1,800-yard season. He beat Randy Moss' single-season reception record for a Viking and for a wide receiver.
In my opinion, he's the best wide receiver in the NFL right now.
That's what I think, too. It's not really a lot to argue.
I would have to argue and say Jamar Chase is the best in the league right now.
Jamar Chase.
He was out a couple of weeks, but I would like to say that if he was to play the whole season, although Jamar does not get as many targets because he has a receiving core around him, whereas Justin Jefferson, it's just him. But I believe that as a receiver itself, I would put Jamar Chase over.
Yeah, it's definitely arguable. It's very debatable. Yeah. So for the Defensive Player of the Year, which I think is also robbed from the Philadelphia Eagles squad, the finalists are Michael Parsons, Nick Bosa, and Chris Jones. You could definitely make the case for Michael Parsons and Nick Bosa for they both had monster seasons. Michael Parsons, I mean, if we in the draft we picked Devontae Smith over Michael Parsons, if you could go back and pick one of the two, who would you pick?
I would probably still go with Devontae.
Still go with Devontae.
Because our defense is good enough as it is right now, and that just adds to our receiving core.
True, and Devontae, in my opinion, he's the best number 2 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, he has great hands.
He does have great hands.
That's a pause.
But Chris Jones, I don't think Chris Jones deserves the acknowledgement over Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick came second place in sacks in the NFL, just under Nick Bosa with 17.5, and not including this postseason. And I think that Hassan just should have been recognized. But he did come top 10 in voting, but he will not be a finalist, which is cruel. The finalists for comeback player of the year are Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and Geno Smith. I think realistically, I'd either have to give it to Saquon or Geno Smith. Both came off wild injuries. Geno Smith's career he's been in the league for like 8, 9, 10 years around there, and he's been on a few different teams. But this year he went to the Seattle Seahawks, and he just turned. He had a pretty good year for them being as not as good as they were, but they made the playoffs as a 7 seed and played the Niners. But Geno Smith had a good season. Saquon had a good season coming back, including Christian McCaffrey. But who would you guys say?
I feel like I've seen so many people say that Geno Smith should win, but in my opinion, Saquon should definitely win because he last year had one of the worst injuries you could have, and the Giants were like terrible team. Like
Yeah,
we're
they're
even
pretty
close
bad.
to making the playoffs, like 4-12, and then he comes back this year, and he has it's like top 5 in rushing. I don't get how people don't think that he should win.
Yeah, as much as I don't like the Giants, Saquon definitely deserves the recognition for being top 5 running back in the
Because
NFL.
he basically carried that offense. Because Daniel Jones isn't that good. They have like no receiving core at all.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
why I
much, yeah. And then for the final award is the Most Valuable Player Award, and your finalists are Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Justin Jefferson. Knowing the NFL and the world we live in today, the award will most likely be given to Patrick Mahomes, and there's nothing us Philadelphia fans can do about that. But I think Jalen Hurts truly deserves it from what he came from last year. He started the season 4-7-1, and ended up winning. It was like, what was the record? It was like 9-7-1, and they ended up making the playoffs as the bottom 7th seed, and ended up playing the number 1 seed Tampa Bay in the number 2 seed Tampa Bay in the wild card, and got absolutely smoked 31-15. But then his junior season, this season that just passed, he was top 10 in passing yards, top 3 in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. He made the Pro Bowl as the starting quarterback. He is an MVP and an Offensive Player of the Year finalist. And most importantly of all, in his 3rd year, he's made the Super Bowl and is in it for everything. And if I don't know if if that deserves an MVP caliber season, then I don't know what does. But we're just gonna have to wait and see a couple days. It's February 2nd. Yeah, and we have to wait about a week for next Thursday for the awards being announced just before the Super Bowl. But it's not as much as like there was definitely different options that me and picked a couple weeks ago for like the possible outcomes. But the season lived on. The Eagles absolutely smoked the Giants in the divisional. Would end up smoking the Niners in the NFC Championship. Are now on to face the best team in the AFC, Kansas City Chiefs. February 12th, 6:30 p.m. Rihanna's the halftime show. Can't wait for that. And I hope it's gonna be a good game. For sure.
Cole, I was just wondering, where are you going for the Super Bowl? Are you?
For the Super Bowl, I'm hoping to have a little party. Not nothing too crazy. Maybe around 7-10 friends. Just to enjoy the game. I want to, because the last time I was like 10, maybe 11 years old, and
Same
I wasn't able to
have people over.
over.
Yeah, I get that.
I was watching the game with my dad and mom, and then after we went to this place called 5 Points in my local area, and ended up celebrating. But I'm 15 now. I'm a freshman.
Yep.
And I am now able to have people over to watch the game. And if we win, I want to be able to everyone to be together and to enjoy such a grateful experience.
Seems like a great time. Dom, I was wondering where you were going.
I'm not sure yet. I think Cole might be inviting me over his house, but I have to make the decision between going there with my friends or staying with my family, because I feel like my mom would get really mad if I don't stay with her.
Yeah, but we're just gonna have to wait and see for that one. I'll be deciding that soon.
Me and Sean also would like to go to Fallon Linen's crib.
Another friend of ours.
Yeah.
But in other news besides
Addy Mandela.
Yeah, besides the Philadelphia Eagles, there's many options for Super Bowl parties this weekend. But in other news, one of the greatest players, arguably the greatest football player of all time, just retired yesterday, in Tom Brady. Tom Brady's, to me, the greatest football player ever to live.
I think he should have retired last season.
I think
never came out of
I think
retirement.
when he goofed when he didn't retire last season. But I think that's what I think. When he didn't retire last year, and then he came out of retirement, and then had one of the worst records in the NFL. That's when I think he messed up. But I think he should have retired off the Super Bowl. But his time has come. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, when you mentioned how he was just into a divorce and his team wasn't doing well, I think he should have ended in the Super Bowl. And what a career! 7 Super Bowl wins. I think it was 10 or 11 trips to the Super Bowl, and it's pretty funny when you think about it. His last Super Bowl loss was against our Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Foles. You can consider Nick Foles and Eli Manning his kryptonite, But until then, what a career for TB12, and what do you think about that? What do you think about his
In my
career?
opinion, Tom Brady made a huge mistake not retiring. Not even last year, not retiring in 2020 or 2021 when he won. When he won the Super Bowl, I feel like he should have went out like he did with how Peyton Manning did, and
Yeah,
I forget what year it was. When
it
did
was
he?
15
or 14 when he beat the Panthers.
Yeah, they smoked
I
them.
feel like he should have done that. But then at the same time, Brady's goal was to go and play until he was 45, which he did, and I feel like that's maybe why he didn't retire when he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you set goals in life and you're one of the greatest, I think you should end up achieving them. I don't think you should cut your career short. There's many great players that have ended up cutting their career short. Calvin Johnson, Megatron's one of them. He cut his career short very early. I think he retired like 33, 34. And then, I think if he continued to league, he probably would have got traded, and he probably might have won a Super Bowl with another team, just like Odell. But he probably will be missed. We've definitely entered the new generation of quarterbacks as now Brady, Breeze, Manning, Rivers.
Aaron Rodgers is the only one.
Aaron Rodgers is the only one left out of the old generation of quarterbacks. As now we've entered the new generation in Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Tua, and we're definitely in a new age. And since then, it's growing very weary. We're getting older, and it's pretty sad to see that the generation that we grew up with as little kids is now and not really a thing anymore. But we're gonna have to deal with this new generation. Hopefully, the Eagles will continue to be good after this year. Hopefully, win the Super Bowl and take us down broad.
I would like to say one more thing about Tom Brady. I feel like not retiring when he faked his retirement was the stupidest thing ever, because even though he didn't win the Super Bowl, I feel like he could have won that year, because they played the Rams and lost 27-24 off of a 60-yard throw to Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And I feel like that year he should have definitely won MVP over Rodgers, but he should have definitely retired last year when he did the whole thing where he faked it.
Yeah, where he faked it. That was a bad decision. And for the final thing, tomorrow, February 3rd, our Roman Catholic K-Lights are playing Neumann-Goretti for what is being labeled as the PCL basketball game of the year, ladies and gentlemen. I was fortunate enough to buy tickets as the tickets sold out in around 25 to 30 minutes.
Dom did not get his tickets.
Dom
will be watching from home.
Please shut up. I couldn't go anyway. I actually had soccer, so it's not like it mattered. But, Nick Magetz, told me he would get me a ticket, and then decides to tell me 40 minutes after they went on sale that he could not get me a ticket.
It's a very touchy topic.
Yeah,
a lot of
I
kids
don't like
around
it.
school did not get them.
And
I thought the way they sold them was not the best way.
Not the best way. It was online. Me and Sean were fortunate enough to buy tickets.
Yeah, but you actually had to end up going down to Newman
Yeah,
to
we
even get
did.
them. It was a rough process.
Tomorrow I have to find a way to go to Newman after school and get the tickets for the game. But it is being labeled as PCL Game of the Year. Unfortunately, I've just been told that a few of the best Newman players will not be playing, as Rob Wright.
Rob Wright's not playing?
Rob Wright.
I heard he sat out the other night. Is he hurt?
Rob Wright, no. I've just been news that he's gotten in trouble, some sort of trouble.
Oh, actually?
Yes, and he will not be playing.
Whom is Rob Wright?
Rob
There's
Wright.
no way you just said who is Rob Wright.
Rob Wright he's the best player on Newman. He's really ranked. He's ranked.
Rob Wright is
defensively.
going to Baylor.
Yeah.
I don't really
Follow the PCL.
follow. Besides Roman, I don't really care.
Then pass me the mic. What happened to Rob Wright?
I was told by freshman Bryce Holman, a good friend of ours, that he got in trouble with some people, and he will not be playing.
So Kafik will be bringing the ball
Get
up.
fried.
No, I don't think he's playing either.
Kafik just played the other night.
I don't think he's playing.
There's no way.
That's
telling-
what Bryce said.
The road to the championship is going to be so easy.
I know.
How long are they out for?
Well, they're not playing tomorrow.
If they're smart, it will just be regular season.
Yeah.
If they make them sit out for the PCL finals and playoffs,
It'll look like Roman's going to get another basketball PCL championship.
it won't only look like that. It will be that.
It will be that.
It'll be the easiest road Roman has ever had to go.
Yeah. No other team besides Neumann-Goretti can really beat us this year. We're 17-1. Tomorrow we're hoping to make that 18-1. And our team's too dominant this year. Xavier, Anthony, Sharif, Eric Bush, Jeremiah. Bryce, Sammy, like all those people, like they contribute to the team as best as they can, and it ends up being the best. Yeah.
How about Sammy in his first game back?
Sammy in his first game back, I did see that.
He had 2 threes. I think you said like 4 minutes or something. That's a good game back.
It's pretty good for being off an ankle injury for a couple months.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, tune in to the Super Bowl, February 12th, 6:30 p.m. on around, I think it's like ABC or NBC.
Or just go to Cole's house. I mean,
Yeah.
invites out to everybody.
Yeah.
Shaun McCormac, you better be coming.
Yeah, you better be coming.
I will be.
Because we are brothers. And brothers need to stick together.
And the invite is out to anyone. Just kidding, but maybe. So watch the Super Bowl. Continue to watch the Sixers. Support our boys, and tune in to the Roman versus Neumann-Goretti basketball game tomorrow. It will be live streamed. If you just go on YouTube and look it up, or go on Safari, look up Roman versus Neumann live stream. It should be there, and I hope that the listeners have had a great day. We'll have a good weekend, good weekend, good year. And this has been another episode of the Roman Arena Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Sonlin. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the Roman Arena Podcast, produced by the students of Roman Catholic High School in Philadelphia, the oldest diocesan high school in the United States. Be sure to subscribe to get new, fresh episodes and follow on social media for more. Thanks for listening to this episode. We'll see you next time on the Roman Arena Podcast.